Hi my beautiful boo babes, welcome back to my channel. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about 5 tips that will possibly help you future artists at art shows. I'm really hoping in 2020 that they will bring the art shows back in a safe way, of course. And hopefully things, obviously everybody's hoping for things to die down, but I really miss doing it. And it's just such a great way to market yourself and get to know people. And honestly, it's really fun. I think you learn a lot doing it. So my hope is that I will be able to do some more this year. It's how I've grown my own self as an artist. And obviously I'm definitely still growing, but I've come this far, and that's a lot of it has come from doing art shows. So hopefully I can help you guys out with some tips, because looking back to my first art show and then looking back to my most recent one that I did, there is a huge difference in terms of what I learned and how I set up and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And real quick, if you hear any squeaks or just like random running in the background, it's my guinea pig who's right behind the camera, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, let's just get into it. Tip number 1 is going to be to have help. I'm very lucky to have parents who have supported me, wanting to paint and all that. And my mom was a huge person who was always at all of my art shows. All of my family helped out at some point, whether it was setup or breakdown. Especially being somebody who paints on canvases, it's a lot to pack and unpack by yourself. Like, it's a lot. Figuring out the best way to transport stuff is a lot, especially when it's like crowded art shows. Of course, pre-COVID, it's tight spaces, so it's hard getting everything in and just figuring that out. So just make sure you have help, somebody who can help you, whether it's you have a few people coming every couple hours to help you, because you're gonna have to go to the bathroom. You might want to get something to eat, because a lot of the times art shows go for a whole day, if not a whole weekend. And unless you bring food, you might want to try the food around. I would encourage you to actually walk around and talk to other artists and support them if you can, and just network and get to know each other and just enjoy the show. Like, you should enjoy it just as much as anybody else there. Usually there's a lot of fun stuff to look at and fun things to try in terms of food. So just make sure you have somebody who can relieve you, whether it's for 15 minutes at a time, every few hours, however long the day might be. Just make sure you plan to have some sort of help. But I think the most important thing is for setup and breakdown, depending, of course, again, on your art. But I'm sure, like, if you paint on glass or anything like that, that's even trickier when it comes to transporting. So just make sure you're planning ahead and you have some sort of help. Okay, so tip number 2 is going to be to do research on the location of the show. It's very important to know where you're going to set up, and 1, because it has a lot to do with the way your booth is gonna look, and 2, it can also help you kind of figure out the traffic of people and if they're gonna be coming in that way, or it just helps in terms of you being able to market yourself the right way. So just kind of know where people are coming from, know if you're inside or outside. That's really important, so you know what to wear. I personally, I feel like I have some sort of an artsy style, I would say, but I like getting, I guess, more on the dressier side, or, doing that kind of stuff for art shows. I just think it's really fun. But of course, if it's outside and it's in the summer, it's going to be hot. So just make sure you know kind of like where your booth setup is beforehand. A lot of the time they're not gonna notify you until closer to the show. So you might have to do like minor changes, but again, I think the biggest thing is to know if it's inside or outside as well. And that can help you determine how your booth is gonna be, what to wear, what to expect, and just little things like that. Okay, so number 3 is going to be prepared to explain your process to people. This is something that I was actually really shocked that I had to do so often. Like, every time someone came up to my booth, and I guess it might be just the fact that I do acrylic pouring, and it's an art that I feel like it's definitely getting more popular now, but a lot of people don't know what it is compared to like just more traditional art. It doesn't really look traditional. It doesn't even look like a traditional abstract form, because clearly it's done in a different way. And a lot of people would ask me what the process was to it, and I nailed it on getting it down to the shortest explanation I could, with still making sense and them still, you know, being intrigued and like, oh yeah, like I kind of understand. But I had to say it so many times, like person after person. I'm like, I just didn't expect it. And I remember like from the first person who asked me, I went a little, you know, too long. And then I was like, man, people keep asking me this, like I gotta figure out a shorter way to say this. At one point I did want to kind of set up like a laptop or something and have a video playing of me like explaining it and stuff, so I didn't have to. I'd just be like, hey, go look at that. But yeah, just if you have something that's just not common, and that's just really like maybe unusual, but it's really cool, people might be really interested in it. So just make sure you have, you know, a cool explanation of, explain how you do it, just like the process of it. That's something I definitely didn't expect. And I think it's something important to be able to confidently say, this is how I do this. This is why I do this, or, you know, and to be able to help somebody out if they want to try it too. So yeah, that's something to expect. Be ready to explain that. All right, number 4 is going to be called have an action or an action button. A lot of the time when you are marketing or doing kind of like ads, let's say you're doing a Facebook ad or something, usually it asks you if you want to have an action button, which is normally something for people to go to after they've seen the ad. So whether it's a website, whether it's back to your page so they can follow you, or an email to contact you, whatever it is, they're putting in an action to do so. And you might have heard this, maybe writing a paper or something, and you're trying to like convince somebody. Usually there's an action at the end for them to do so. And I think that's one of the biggest things I learned at my first art show. I didn't have any way for people to contact me afterwards. I didn't even think about cards. I don't even think I had an email set up. And that's something that really dawned on me, is like, wow, I don't have anywhere for people to go to. And especially if this is like your first time, you're just getting out doing this, simply just create an email, maybe write it on a board so it's there, or have a list where people can put their emails down if they want to, so you can contact them personally. But just have something or somewhere for them to go to, because it's important in terms of marketing yourself. And people who maybe want to come back to you, maybe they couldn't afford to get it then and there, maybe they want to save up for it or something, you want to have a place for them to come back to. So that's something really important to think about, whether it's a card, email, social media, whether you just start an Instagram page, something for them so they can contact you through. That's very, very important, especially as an artist, being a visual person. People want to see your stuff. So I think it's important to have something. And I think at some point, every artist should 100% have a website. It doesn't have to be a store, but something simply where you can have a gallery on is super important. And there's plenty of free sites for that kind of stuff. But yeah, I won't keep going on, but that's just something I realized myself. Okay, so the 5th tip for you guys today is going to be that it's a process. There's definitely going to be times where you might not even break even. There are going to be times where you know, don't even make anything. There's gonna be, you know, days where it ends up raining out of, you know, nowhere and nobody ends up showing up. I've had art shows where I didn't make any money at all, but I still felt like it was successful. Maybe 1, because I had family there and we just hung out, we had a good time. 2, I got to talk to a lot of other people and I got to learn a lot about what I should do for my next show, whether that was gonna help me get those sales that I didn't get that time, or just simply do better the next time. Don't be disappointed when that happens. It literally happens to everybody at some point, especially if you're starting out. That's what being an artist is. There are your ups and downs. I'm sure, you know, you've heard that before, and I'm not saying you can't be successful for the first time. I, you know, pray that for everybody who is starting out on this journey, but there are times that I feel like I didn't make the money that I wanted to, but I got something way better out of it, and I had to realize that, and I was still very, very happy I did it. I felt like it was really good. I was able to talk to people. I was able to still market myself. I had potential customers who probably came back at some other point. You know, I've had people I maybe done one art show, you know, 2 or 3 times, and they're like, oh, I remember you from last year, and they come back. So it's good to just show yourself. Like, showing yourself, that in itself is a very big thing that you should do as an artist. You know, make your goals, but just don't be, you know, disappointed or discouraged when you might not reach it the way you wanted to. Just, you know, look at the positive, look at the good, see what you got out of that and apply it to the next time. Make it, you know, even better than that. But I definitely think, you know, do your best just to simply just show up and be there, talk to people, market yourself, talk to other artists, because there are people there who've done this before, and some of them are willing to share their process. I won't say every artist is like that, and that's unfortunate that some people can feel stingy that, you know, they worked their butt off to get where they are and they don't want to share that. There are some people like that, and you're going to run into that. But don't be that way as yourself. Like, if people have questions, answer it to the best of your abilities. If you have a question, don't be scared to ask, because some people are really, really sweet and they want to see you succeed. So just know that it's a process, you're learning, and just to have fun with it. I think it's just so much fun to see people and to, you know, be in person and see them excited about your art, whether they buy it or not, just to know that they simply had interest, or if they had the money, they would put the biggest piece you had in their house or something. It's just really fun to see, and it's just overall a great experience. So yeah, I'm really hoping that this year, you know, in 2021, that we can really start doing it again, and you know, just see, you know, people smiling under their mask and everything, and just enjoying other people's art. I think it's a very therapeutic thing for some people, especially during this time. Art in itself is, and it's just, you know, it should be out there. It should be loved just as much as anything else. So I'm really hoping we can do it again. But yeah. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you today. So this was 5 tips on how to help you for your first art show. I am gonna have a part 2 next Monday as well, with another 5 tips to hopefully help you succeed even more. Again, these are all tips that I have just come up with, that I have learned myself. I have done quite a few art shows over the past years, and again, like I said, I'm hoping to do many, many more, but I really do want to help you guys out there, because I know when I was searching on YouTube, there wasn't really many videos in depth, and or at least I didn't find what I was looking for in terms of doing art shows and stuff like that. So I really, really hope this is helpful to any of you guys. If you have questions, don't be afraid to message me. All my social media links will be down below. The video test for this camera will be going up tomorrow, but I'm sure you can kind of tell now that the video is really, really good. But if you want to see a side-by-side comparison of what I was using compared to now, you guys can go check that video out. It will be up tomorrow on my second channel, which you can subscribe to down below if you want to. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video on Friday. Bye, guys.